Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of US Law Live. I'm Michael Judy from the Dysart Taylor firm in Kansas City, Missouri, and we have a great show ahead of us today, most particularly because I have one of my favorite co-hosts, which is Jessica Dark from the Pierce Couch firm in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
If I were doing any better, it would be illegal. So it's a great day for me.
Are you feeling fall weather there in Kansas City? Is that why you've got some good vibes?
We've had the taste of it. It got down into the 70s last week. Unfortunately, I was in Colorado. I shouldn't say unfortunately. I was in Colorado for their great weather, but missed the good weather in Kansas City because we're now back in the 80s. But I am recharged and rejuvenated after the US Law Fall Conference and just really excited for the day, Jessica.
I love to hear that. I will tell you in Oklahoma right now, we're experiencing what I like to call fake fall second summer. We woke up to 60-degree weather, which is so nice, but there's a high of 82 again. So, when you get dressed in the morning or you tell your kids to get dressed in the morning, you have to really think about, sure, wear a jacket now, but also shorts and a t-shirt because you're going to be sweaty.
Yeah. I mean, and what really has me excited is our wonderful guest today. Our guest is one of the best trial lawyers in the country, is an experienced transportation lawyer, is very involved in the U.S. Law Network, and frankly, is one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. And without further ado, we're going to welcome Tamara Goorevitz from Franklin and Procopic in Baltimore, Maryland. Hello, Tamara.
Hi,
Woo!
everyone. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Mike. I'm so excited to be here.
We are
This,
so
Yeah.
glad to have you. How are you?
I'm good. Mike, I don't choke up easily, but that was really nice what you said. Thank you. You're one of my favorite people, both of you. I'm so excited to be on here. You guys are doing these podcasts are so cool. So thank you for having me.
We're so
Yeah,
glad to
well,
have you, Tamara. As Mike said, I mean, you were maybe one of the first people I met at my first US Law event. I think was a women's event. And, honestly, today was the first time I think I've realized you're from Maryland because I think we just talk about a million other things when I see you. So, how's it going in Maryland?
Maryland is awesome right now. We are full fall. We usually have a little bit of a hotter September, but we hit the ground running with fall. September 1, it's like it flipped over. Our leaves are changing, which is what there's so many beautiful things about Maryland. We call ourselves America in miniature because you can go to the beach, you can go to what we call the mountains. You guys might laugh at that. Well, I don't know, Jessica, I guess you don't have mountains, but
No, we have
but
one hill that's
those are
almost a
the
mountain.
right. Those are the West might laugh. But yeah, we are yeah, our leaves are changing and it's just lovely out here. And I love all things fall. It's my favorite season. So it's a
yeah.
good time to be here.
What are
Well, and I
your
know, oh, go ahead, Jessica.
Well,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, what are your fall favorites? I'm assuming on the coast you guys are doing some much more fall friendly events than in Oklahoma. Are you going to the apple orchards and the pumpkin patches?
Apple picking is a great activity here. Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing on September 1st or whenever Starbucks that puts out the pumpkin spice latte. I am there. But yes, we are doing all the fall sports, the football games, like most of the country. But yes, we do the apple picking. We do fire pits, and I haven't gone camping, but it is pretty common for us to try to camp in the fall.
It's
It's just
it's
perfect.
nice to know you could, right?
Yes, I don't have your type of weather, thankfully.
Well, and I know we're going to get into a lot of the ins and outs of Maryland law and some interesting things in Maryland that are unique, and then talking about how we're training the next generation of trial lawyers. But before we get there, not that you need more introduction to the U.S. law audience, because I feel like you're a staple, but I guess give us a little bit of background about when you started with U.S. law, your involvement, and how the network has helped you in your practice.
Yes. I've been involved in US law. I don't know the exact year, but I think it's been 20 years. I think our firm got involved. It wasn't right on, but early on. And I became involved right away in the transportation practice group as well as the retail group. And I continued those are my primary areas that I am in US law. Of course, I do other practice areas, but I got very involved with the transportation practice group, and I was eventually the chair of that group, which is, as everyone knows, fantastic group of people and clients, and just so unique and interesting. I've learned so much from this group, and I've really enjoyed being in leadership. And I was fortunate to be asked to be on the board, or to be nominated to be on the board, and then to be elevated to the executive committee. So I'm currently vice chair, which I'm just so excited about. I'm excited. Jennifer Trickers, our chair, as everyone knows, we're doing this right after the Colorado Fall Conference. So we're excited to have new leadership and for me to be her vice chair. But that's kind of my trajectory in US law. I tried to go to as many of the events as I can, and I'm excited about the upcoming year of forums that we have, and we had a great client fall conference. The Broadmoor was fantastic. The clients were fantastic. And I'm always so energized by this group, and I'm energized by I always meet new people, which I can't believe I still meet and get to know new people. And Jessica, I remember meeting you early on too, and being so impressed by you. And Mike, obviously, I've known you as well for a long time, and I'm excited about this coming year.
What advice would you give to the younger lawyers who are starting out in U.S. law that are, attending their first conference or first exchange or getting involved, if they do have an interest in growing their exposure and maybe becoming part of the executive committee or the board? I guess, what advice would you have to lead them along their path?
My first advice is get to know as many people as you can and make it known that you want to participate. We are always, always looking for people to participate. And believe it or not, I know it can seem intimidating. Obviously, we're all friendly, and I think that's one of the things I hear the most about how welcoming people are. But people don't always make it known that they want to be more active. And I think that's the number one thing to do. And I know it can start within your own firm, letting your own firm know. I really enjoyed this. I got a lot out of it. I'd like to have another opportunity. And then look on the website or talk to someone you met and ask about their trajectory, where they got involved, and how because everyone kind of has their own path. But one of the things that I did early on that I think I've seen, and it's been successful for you all, is letting it be known that you want to be involved, that you're available, that you'll do, what we call the grunt work. You'll write an article, you'll be behind the scenes, you'll hold a catch box and facilitate discussions, because there are so many opportunities and you got to start somewhere. But I think the first is speaking to people and in your practice area. We've got a great women's group that is so active and welcoming if you want to get started. But within your practice area, just let it be known. And then it kind of evolves. We're always looking for people to eventually, you start with speaking and volunteering to speak at your practice forum or even the conference, and then go from there, hopefully get into leadership. And it starts all the way at the educational coordinators, as you all know, and we're always looking for people who are enthusiastic and willing to help. So I think
and for people who are listening, the speaking part of it is, I echo that, because you think it's, oh, I have to get up for an hour and present, and it's so difficult. And it's really the easiest job in the world, because you do prepare and you do get ready for it. But once the conversation starts, we have so many great thought leaders between lawyers and clients. It's just, great point. What do you think about that? No, that's a great point. Anybody else? And you're driving the conversation by just tossing the catch box from one to the other, but people then think you know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, and to echo your first statement, Tamara, of going to your firm and making it known, I think being able to participate in those sessions and take notes and take ideas back to your firm to explain or demonstrate just how beneficial it is that you got to go. I think that's also very helpful. I know that when we look at, how are we handling succession planning or retaining good talent? I mean, hearing from all across the country, different ideas, different methods. I mean, that's been something that we've been able to take back to our firm and come up with new ideas.
Absolutely. I think that's very important too, Jessica. I think that we will help each other advocate. So, for example, if I know someone at your firm or Mike's firm, and I'm always happy to go up and go, I met Mike and he was fantastic and I would love to have him involved. So, even if you're having trouble kind of figuring out your path, you find someone more senior and say, help me, we will help. And I love that about this group. And clients too. The clients are phenomenal with that. I've yet to meet a client that doesn't want to help another client or help another attorney, even if they can't particularly, like they don't have work in the state or they can't particularly have anything going with that attorney. They want to help. Everyone is so friendly that way.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Switching gears a little bit, so you go to a U.S. Law Conference, you do all the background work, and now we're calling Tamara for cases in Maryland. Tell us about what's going on in Maryland. What's unique in the law? What trends are you seeing? Just what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Maryland I say to clients, if you have to be sued for personal injury here, it's a great place to be because we have some unique things that are much more rare as I talk to attorneys around the country. One of the things we have that is great for clients is caps on non-economic damages. And I can tell you exactly your exposure in Maryland for a personal injury lawsuit because it goes by year and most clients are pretty shocked when they know, because I hear about $35 million verdicts and $100 million verdicts around the country. It's just not a possibility in Maryland. Now, in terms of trends, we have very creative plaintiffs attorneys, as do most states. And what we're seeing is some of these national attorneys that start to come here and either open up shops or at least get admitted specially and try to find creative ways to get more damages in front of juries. So that's some trends that we've been seeing. For example, we'll see life care plans all the time. And I do think that is kind of a national trend, but here where it's not even remotely warranted, suddenly someone has a life care plan or needs some type of care that just puts more damages on, quote unquote, on the board. The other thing that we do have that's great and is more unique, I think it's down to 5 states that are still contributory negligence states, and we are one of them. So that means that if a jury finds any negligence by the plaintiff, and they don't even write a percentage on the verdict sheet, it's yes or no. So
Oh, wow.
we talk to juries and say any negligence, and that is a complete bar. And we have won jury verdicts a year and a half ago. We got a jury verdict on contrib. Now I wish it was a complete. It's still a defense verdict, but at the end of the day, they don't even get to the damages question on the verdict sheet. So it is alive and well, and sometimes juries will do a little, we call it jury comparative negligence, where they're like, yeah, the plaintiff wasn't so great, so we'll just give them less damages. But we do have that. It's a great bargaining chip to know that if we get the right jury and there is enough that the plaintiff did, that they could be barred from recovery. So it helps us in settlement. We also have assumption of the risk. I'm not sure how common that is. So if the plaintiff voluntarily undertook a risk, that is also a complete bar. So those
Oh,
are
a
some
complete bar.
complete bar. So
Man, I think I may move to Maryland.
you
Yeah.
should, I mean, all the clients should open up shop here. That's what I think. And yeah, so again, it's a question on the verdict sheet. Did the plaintiff assume the risk of injury? And there's a lot of plaintiffs out there that is one of the first things. It does sort of go hand in hand with contrib. Did they not act reasonably, or did they knowingly assume the risk? And I see that a lot where it's like, what were you thinking, plaintiff? And so, yeah, that we often have verdict sheets with both those questions on it.
When I
And
was
on
in
the
law school, I remember the assumption of the risk defense was taught in context with a case involving like ice skating.
Yes.
What kind of cases are you seeing where assumption of the risk is getting all the way through?
Any ice and snow cases. We have a case in Maryland where it is known that ice is slippery. So if you voluntarily encounter ice, we can get out on summary judgment.
Wow.
So ice skating is a perfect example. Any activity that involves risk, even without a waiver, if it's known to involve risk, like ice skating, risk of slipping and falling, we see a lot on the premises liability side. Slips and falls on known water. Now we kind of have a hand-in-hand defense called open and obvious. Again, if something's open and obvious, we have no duty to warn or correct. So that can be on the verdict sheet as well, or at least a jury instruction. But assumption of the risk, we see really any activity. We've argued, walking on the shoulder of a highway is assumption of the risk, we've argued. Now, that's harder to get out on motion for summary judgment because it depends on so many factors. But basically, any activity, we represent an amusement park in Maryland, and they have like splash zones that you walk through. And believe it or not, they get sued for people slipping and falling in the splash zone. And it's like, you knew that everyone knows water is slippery. And therefore, if you choose to encounter it, you are barred. So those are the types of, but basically, we try to we try to get it into any case we can.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
one of the things we were talking about before we started recording, and I wanted to pick your brain on it, is obviously you've got a lot of great trial experience. I think tried more than 70, 75 jury trials, if not more now. But what are you finding with the younger litigators and imparting kind of your wisdom on how to try a case, how to weave these themes in and out of trials because so few cases are going to trial now?
Yeah, that is a concern. And I won't say it's something that keeps me up at night because really at this point only caffeine keeps me up at night. But I try not to take it home. Isn't that ideal for us all? I've really been trying not to take it home. But it is one of those things I think about a lot because I see these new eager attorneys come in, and I think litigation has shifted. I even think the desire to be a litigator has shifted. I mean, I went to law school to be a litigator. It's the
Yeah.
only thing I thought about, and I could not wait. But I am seeing not only a shift away from people who truly want to do that, but also it's just the opportunities to get them trained to the point where a client is like, okay, Tamara, you don't have to be at the trial. I am trusting this younger, quote unquote, attorney. It's just harder to find those opportunities. We're trying, and we have a lot of great supportive clients who are willing to send a second attorney as a second chair who's an associate so that they can get that experience. And they know we're if I can get a second chair, that attorney is opening. They're doing opening argument. I think it's one of the best ways to train new attorneys. And certainly I'm going to go through it with them and everything. And they're going to take a witness, again, with client's permission. But those opportunities, when I started out, I was in trial all the time. I mean, I had
Yep.
clients that, and part of that is Maryland. Like, I swear I tried 15 grocery store slip and falls to verdict in 2 years. It was crazy because it was just so defensible here. Because again, not to get into too much Maryland law, but we have great premises liability notice law in favor of business owners. But anyway, I just think it's harder now. I think it's something I'm talking to attorneys nationally. It's harder. You mentioned, Mike, it's harder sometimes to keep those younger folks and that don't get taken away by GC jobs or assistant general counsel or in-house jobs. But it's when you do find those attorneys that are excited about litigation and kind of have the fire in their belly for it, I am so
Yeah.
committed to training them, to bringing them along as much as I can, and hopefully clients are on board with letting these attorneys come to trial and take some witnesses because it's so important. And I know clients worry about it too.
I was
Yeah.
talking with a
But
client recently, and we were talking about how, especially in Oklahoma, I mean, there are some pretty big verdicts out there. And so when you're in the litigation and in the settlement discussion, that does hang over, your head and the client's head of, oh, this could be bad, but we need to start trying some more and get some more, whether it's more reasonable numbers or defense verdicts, and kind of flip that narrative to where now we're at mediation and we're telling the mediator, yeah, sure, there was a, $15 million verdict in that case, but there was also this zero, this 100,000, and they need to be keeping that in mind. So I think as lawyers, we need to be keeping our eyes out for those. Hey, this would be a really good one to try. And here's why, but also, I think from the client perspective, I think they're interested in that as well, of let's change the narrative.
Yeah, and I think US law is a great place to share those victories, and we do a adequate job of it. We could be better, and I think clients, we're all sort of talking about that more. Like, let's share our victories, let's share so that we have more confidence in taking these cases to trial.
I think that's been interesting because there's some school of thought of, why are you publishing on LinkedIn and on your website that you want a summary judgment motion? You did your job. You're supposed to win summary judgment motions, but plaintiffs' counsel, they're sure advocating or advertising every single time they get a verdict or, a huge number. And so I think that while that has some merit, I do think it is important, especially in this age of websites, social media, LinkedIn, billboards, really starting to tout those victories.
Yes, I think it's very
yeah,
important, and I'm glad the people that do share. I love reading them. I always hit my like button on LinkedIn, and congratulations. I do think clients enjoy reading, but you're right. The plaintiffs bar is so vocal, and they share so much, and they have their examples lined up of all their great verdicts, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think that makes their job harder sometimes is, they get these clients in who say, well, you got that guy on your billboard $9 million. Why am I supposed to settle for 20,000, not understanding the
Right.
millions of differences. But
yeah.
I'm interested to see, if there's ever any kind of discussion about that maybe it's
Right.
actually not that helpful.
Right.
Yeah, I think the difference between a $9 million judgment and a $20,000 judgment is having Tamara as your defense counsel in Maryland.
No, it's being in Maryland where we have cats.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like it's Maryland.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think, and I understand the law is favorable, but you're probably selling yourself short a little bit that it does take skill to convince a jury and to make that argument with nuance and to train the next generation that you can't just go up there and say, well, they assume the risk, so my job's done. I mean, I do think that there is an art and a skill to it. And even in the jurisdictions where that happens, I've heard stories all the time about, yeah, but juries know it. And so they find a way around it.
Right.
And I think that's knowledge and skill that you're imparting to the next generation at your firm, which is great.
Right. And it takes time to develop, right? So that's part of getting that exposure to these younger folks is having them come along and see, because everyone has their own style. Just because I try a case the way that works for me, that doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And you kind of have to figure that out and take some time.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we want to switch and ask you some questions that you're not prepared for, not
Oh,
legal related. These are just top of mind questions, and
oh.
so I'll fire off the first one. What was your favorite memory from this most recent fall conference?
Mahjong.
Yeah,
Mahjong.
that's what I like to hear.
No,
Now, are you new to Mahjong, or
we're
is this
sweeping the nation. We're sweeping US law. Yeah, I am new to it. I credit Jessica, who literally let me sit behind her. Now, that was at the women's conference and started telling me about it.
Because I carried 50 pounds of mahjong tiles and racks on the plane all the way to Canada, Mike. That is the level of commitment we offer.
Right. And then Pam, Allison Sauceman, you ladies, and Christy, who's a client, are just awesome, and you bring everybody in. And I'll tell you, people were gathering around, and we were grabbing anyone. You want to learn? And people were like, yeah, we want to learn.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
That
so
was
much fun. I mean, we all sit around and talk to each other anyway, and we can do that. But for some reason, just having that to also be doing at the same time just makes it even more fun.
right.
Yeah.
And we,
I will.
I love the pool party. Sorry, Mike. And so it just added like an extra sort of fun thing to the pool party.
It was fun, but I did see that competitive fire in you come out, Tamara, that you hate to lose.
Me, no. I mean, at least I didn't upend the board, right? Or the
I mean,
tiles.
I was nervous for a minute and I wasn't even playing.
We should probably have thought about that, getting a whole bunch of litigators, super competitive type A people
Oh
playing
my
a
gosh.
game.
Hilarious. That's true. Well, and the day before I had played pickleball, which I had only done one time before. So I like went to the beginners to talk about competitors. You want to see some
Oh,
competitors. There was like a throwdown championship that was a nail biter. I was not in it. I was on the sidelines, but that was cool. I mean, the whole conference is amazing. The Broadmoor is absolutely amazing. The mahjong, of course, was one of my favorites because it's so new and unique and really brought people together. But the whole conference was spectacular.
right.
My
Well,
question for you, Tamara, obviously we're litigators, we're exhausted, we're stressed, we're anxious. What do you do in your off time to, chill out and kind of stay sane?
That's a great question. I think about that a lot too. I try to find new and different things to do. I love the outdoors. I like to read. I'm a big reality TV junkie. So if you ever anyone ever wants to talk about reality TV, I love it. The only thing I haven't jumped on board with is the Housewives. No offense to the Housewives fans out there. For some reason, I just didn't click with that. But if there's any, speaking of competitive, if there's a competitive element to the reality TV, I'm all about it. The Amazing Race, those kind of things. And then I have two teenagers at home. So I'm at a lot of, my son's a cross country runner. I'm leaving today to go watch a cross country race. My daughter's a senior and doing POMs. So I'm at football games and competitions. So that's a lot of my spare time as well.
It's interesting you mentioned The Amazing Race. There's a plaintiff's lawyer that I work with a lot, and he was on The Amazing Race
No way.
and on Survivor.
Come on.
And I know, so if he were to do Big Brother, he would have completed the
The
trifecta.
trifecta.
And he's nice. I doubt he's ever going to listen to this, but he really loves for people to know that he was on those shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I won't ask who he is. We're not giving that kind of press on this podcast.
Nope.
But
Nope.
Right.
Traders has anyone watched Traders?
No.
Oh,
What's
okay.
traders?
It's wild. It takes some reality TV people and it puts them in this house. And there's four traders that are trying to, it's almost like the mole, they're trying to throw off
Okay.
the game. And it's really unique. But I don't know. I don't know why I got on this. I think it's because the stress of what we do, you kind of have to come home. I can't watch legal shows. I will. Like I loved Suits. But I like to come home and watch something that is just completely, it doesn't require like a lot of brain power.
Yeah, I'm rewatching The Office.
I did that a year ago.
One of those comfort shows.
It is
Yeah.
such a. Did you watch
I was
the
gonna say I'm in the middle of Seinfeld right now. So I mean
that's
I
another
get
one.
it. Yeah.
Those are the perfect shows to like rewatch. There's so many good rewatchers. The paper is like the new Office spinoff. I watched that. It was interesting. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked some of the characters and I
Yeah.
really hated some of the characters.
Yes.
So I didn't really stick with it. My husband liked it.
Yeah.
You mentioned reading. Tell me,
Yes.
what books are you reading?
Okay, so right now I'm reading Say You'll Remember Me. I go back and forth between reading really serious books and then reading really light. Like during the summer, I like to read a beach read. And then when we come into Christmas, I like to read more like light Christmassy, almost like a Hallmarky, which I love the Hallmark movies as well. It's Hallmark movie season. But I'm also in a book club that is online. This woman named Sharon McMahon, they call her America's government teacher. She has a little book club. And so we're going to read Amy Coney Barrett's. She just came out with a memoir, or not, I don't know what it's I can't think what it's called, but that's on our list. So I like to kind of mix those
So
types.
if it's online, is it like you Zoom to talk or do you do
In the book club,
Yeah.
correct. We Zoom talk about the books, but there's so many people. She's a pretty popular like Instagrammer, so there's so many people in the book club that it's really her leading a discussion, and then she'll have the author on in the
Oh,
book club. So it is
Oh, wow.
unique. I used to have a book club with friends years ago, but we kind of got too busy and disbanded. It was the book club where you don't really have to read the book and everyone just
that
come and
that was exactly how my book club went. It has now morphed into a supper club. So
oh,
we
that's nice.
still get together and we
That's
just eat
awesome.
dinner.
Well, I'm going to start a mahjong club here in Maryland. So that's my next.
Full
You're the
support.
Two
perfect
of my
person to lead
besties
it.
are learning it. So yeah.
Full
Well,
support.
Tamara, you've been very, very generous with your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
For anybody listening who is new to U.S. law and is going to a first event or, second event, find Tamara, say
Yes.
hello. She will introduce you around. She will make you feel welcome. It's what she did for me. I know she's done it for countless of others. So thank you for all that you do and for your dedication to the network.
You guys are the best.
It was so great to see you and catch up. I hated to miss the fall
Oh,
conference,
I
so I'm
hated
really
not
glad we
knowing.
got to catch up.
Yes, it's so good to see you both. I love you both so much, and I missed you, Jessica. We all missed you. And I just thank you for what you're doing. This is so cool. And I love all the guests you have and just I know the time it takes. So thank you. You guys are great hosts. I think you have a second career ahead of you of doing this
Well, thank
outside
you.
of this
We'll
Uh,
start looking for some advertisers.
Perfect. I'll be
uh,
a review.
Perfect.
Perfect.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you everybody for tuning in to another exciting episode of US Law Live, and we'll see you at the next one.